Story number 1. Our story begins in a regular classroom with a student who has his hands up. Okay, next up, if we apply this. But that was when the teacher looked over. He looked over at the student raising his hand in shock. But the student replied, "Toilet, sensei." "Your sensei isn't a toilet." The classroom then bursted out in laughter. "Go ahead and work through it, class. Anyone out there think they know?" He stared out into his classroom. "Oh!" A student was raising their hand. "Then, you back there. Who is that? In that moment, someone stood up and walked out into the open. It was a little boy, raising his hand right up into the air. The teacher looked at him in shock, setting his head down and muttering, If no one knows the answer, I'll walk you through it. Starting with this part." But he kept hearing the hand waving behind him. Later that day, the hand was still waving. The students bid each other farewell, but the teacher, he was uneasy. He turned around, looking downward, but that was when he noticed a hand. "Mr. Kayama, you're leaving already. The other teachers are getting together for some drinks in a bit. What do you say?" "Sorry, but Oh, right, you don't drive, do you? I'll let you know in advance before the next time." Thanks." And so, the teacher made his way home, boarding onto the subway, but still, the poor man couldn't help but feel uneasy. Today felt especially different. The whole subway was shaking and rattling, everyone raising their hands. He looked at it all in shock, placing his head against a metal bar and closing his eyes. But that was when the subway came to a stop. The whole thing was rattling back and forth, and then he noticed a hand. He looked down, and it was the little boy staring at him as if he was staring into the teacher's very existential being. He bumped into a lady nearby, running out of the subway as fast as he could. But then, he stopped in place. There was a policeman staring at him. "You're Mr. Kayama, correct?" Oh, well... Oh, I get it. This time, in an ironic twist of events, Mr. Kayama raised his hands into the air. "It's okay. I won't put up a fight. I'm done running away. I confess. It was me." "Suspect apprehended." On redacted day at 6 p.m., a man was accused of hitting a person who was using the pedestrian crossing with his car, and after fleeing the scene without attempting any life-saving measures was later arrested. You see, the story that happened on that day, Mr. Yakayama was driving in his car, but as you see, in the back seat, it was filled with cans of alcohol, Mr. Kayama had been driving drunk, but that was when he noticed someone in the middle of the street. It was a boy, the boy that was raising that hand. In the end, some may say that Mr. Kayama truly received his just desserts. Story number 2. Ever since I was a little kid, I would see grotesque creatures. Mama, look! The two of them looked over, but his mother seemed to be a little confused. When I first realized that no one other than me could perceive them, it really scared me to the core. It felt like the scarier I thought of these things as, the more clearly they appeared to me. One day when we came back home, my grandmother awaited us. She said, "Welcome back. Did more scary guys show up today?" My mother told Grandma to stop telling like that in fears that it would scare me. However, my grandma taught me something that helped me on that day. She explained, "Shuichi, it's all right. Just pretend not to notice them. If you keep ignoring them, they'll go away before long. Come on, open your eyes." Grandma? You don't have to do anything special. Just pretend not to notice them. And so, as I began to ignore them, they slowly began to disappear until... See, they're gone now. You can see them too, Grandma? Then there isn't something wrong with me. Of course there isn't. You're perfectly fine as you are. I've been able to see them since I was little like you. You've probably already noticed, but they're not like us. Are they ghosts? No, they're different from ghosts. There's something more sinister about them. They were never human to begin with. If you get too careless around them, they'll take you away. And the more you look at them, the stronger they become. That's why we have to pretend like we don't know about them. They will do whatever it takes to get you to respond to them, but you have to ignore it. Okay. It'll be fine. If things get tough, you can always come and talk to me. From then on, I pretended not to see anything. Just like my grandma said, as long as I ignored their presence, they would go away pretty quickly. One day, when I was out on a date with a girl. It's been a while since I've been to the theater. We got pretty good seats, too. The two of us made our way to our seat and sat down, but that was when I noticed. Ugh. Man, this sucks. The person in front of me is so tall, I can't even see the big screen. But my girlfriend, she couldn't see it. That was when I realized the horrible truth. There in front of me stood one of those grotesque creatures. Oh, never mind. It's nothing. But the creature got more and more crazy, until finally it began pulling on its head, tearing its neck right off as its insides splattered everywhere. Sorry, I'm going home. Huh? I ran as fast as I could. It's following me. Help me. Grandma! Grandma! there stood my grandma. She greeted me.
What's wrong? You're in such a panic. Let's get you some tea. I've got some dorayaki too.
And so, the two of them spent some time together, ignoring those creatures until they finally disappeared. I need to be stronger.
Just take it one day at a time.
His grandmother reached around him, pulling him closer and comforting the poor boy. A few years later, my grandma passed away. Her cause of death was undetermined. Her sight and hearing were going bad by then, so she might have confused one of them for a real person and stopped ignoring it. I'm scared. I miss her so much. Grandma, where should I run to when I'm scared now? The poor boy collapsed to the floor. But that was when he heard footsteps behind him. Now of all times, I'll just leave the room. But as he went to leave the room, he peered behind him and saw a horrific sight. It was his grandmother's head attached to one of those dreadful bodies. Grandma? That was when he heard the horrible noise those creatures make. They're using Grandma's form to grab my attention. And then it ripped itself apart. The poor boy looked away, sweat dripping down his face as he went to leave the room. But as he heard the blood dripping from the creature, he thought to himself, "How dare you!" He began to clench his fists, his whole body trembling with anger, as he made his way back into the room. "Stop playing around with my grandma's body, you monster!" Its body began to split in half, and then it made that noise once more. But little did our protagonist know that he was now completely surrounded. Story number 3. Our story begins at a gravesite, where a young man stands in front of it, a liquid seeping on top of the gravestone as the man grunts. Some amount of time later, back at a house, a sliding wooden door opens. Huh? Someone's here. The individual makes his way to the front of the house to see the man from earlier who was at the gravesite. He addresses him angrily. "Big bro?" "Sup? Damn, you've gotten big, haven't you?" The older brother helps himself inside, taking a seat at the table and asserting, "I'm starving, Mom. I'd kill for some food." "What? Why? Why have you come back here?" "Huh? Is it strange for a son to come back home during Oban?" "It's strange for you." The older brother looks over, a smirk on his face. "You left home years ago and didn't even show up to Dad's funeral, so why now?" "I've been busy with things." "You liar. I know you hated Dad." The room was silent for a moment, and then the older brother spoke. You're wrong. Dad was the one who hated me. I can tell. Your breath reeks of alcohol. Just like Dad, then. Get out already! But that was when they heard a strange rattling behind them. It was the door once again. The two of them looked over. Mom, did you invite anyone else over? The mother shook her head back and forth, signaling that she did not. And so, our boy peered through, staring at the front entrance. And what he saw was that the door was wide open, and the shoes were tumbled. He looked over angrily, and then he said, "You could have at least shut the door." "No, I made sure to close it, and we heard the door open, so..." The younger brother didn't know what to say, but that was when they heard another strange noise behind them, coming from the bathroom. They looked over. Who's there?" He slowly opened the door, grabbing it by the handle and peering inside. When he looked inside, he saw that the bathroom was now a disaster. Some liquid oozing out of the toilet, and the toilet paper all smeared against the ground, and things tumbled over and broken. What happened here? That was when they heard a scream from the dining room. It was their mother. Inside, things were moving around, and even a plant bumped itself over and tumbled toward the floor. What was happening? The group of them stared at the shattered plant, and then the younger brother uttered, "Dad, he's angry. It's all because you came back here." You really believe that? And then, their father's photo began to tilt as well. Then it fell toward the ground and shattered into pieces. "Look, can't you see? Leave this instant. You had your chance to come back." I might not have been able to come back home, but I've been sure to visit his grave." What? Oh, right. What do you... I see. At his grave today. What did you do to his grave? So that's it. I get it now. Damn it! What did you do to his grave? All I did was pour out some sake for him. I poured it over his grave. That way. Dad, you can drink all you want over there. Story number 4.
Ichijo, Ninomiya, Mikami. We'll always be friends, won't we? That came from out of nowhere, Regima. Of course we will. I've had to move so many times since my parents passed away. I can't stop worrying. So, we should all make a promise that we'll be together forever.
The group of them paused for a moment, and then they agreed.
Sure thing. Let's all promise.
And the biggest smile formed on Regima's face. As the group of them all crossed their pinkies together, swearing upon a bunch of different things. That whoever lies will have to cut off their pinky, take 10,000 fists, and swallow 1,000 needles. But as we continued on into middle school, we stopped inviting Regima to hang out with us. And before long, we all totally forgot about him. The three of us grew up into adults. Until one day, I was clacking away at my computer and I got a message from Mikami. Oh? What's Mikami want? Huh? It read, "Come to the park as soon as you can." And so, I ran as fast as I could and greeted him. "What's up, Mikami? Been a while since I've stopped by this park. Why did you—" But something was not right with Mikami. He exhibited visible signs of distress, evident through his uncontrollable shivering and the tight grip he held on his bandaged hand. And as I took a closer look, I noticed he was missing his pinky finger. Mikami, your finger!" He spoke to me. "It was Regima. Regima showed up out of nowhere and sliced off my pinky finger." In that instant, I recalled sights of him from the past. "Regima? That Regima?" "Yeah, it was him. What about Nanomiya? I tried getting a hold of him." "I haven't heard from him yet." It's from Ninomiya." Was a text from him, reporting me to come to the Aimi Community Hospital, room 211. And so, I ran as fast as I could to that hospital, opening the door as fast as I could. "Ninomiya! No! He got to you too?"
Regima just kept on beating me over and over again.
Sweat dripped down his brow as he said, "Then that's it. It's my turn now. He's grown to despise us because we used him and just threw him out. I'm going to be the next one to face his wrath."
No. When he told me that he sliced up Mikami, I thought he was going to take a finger from me too, but I was wrong. Why? As he was caving my face in, I realized something. Our pinky promise. Ejima wanted all of us to stay together, but we went and broke that promise. It's just like that old saying goes, that we cross our hearts and hope to die, and if you're lying, 1,000 needles down the hatch. Yubikiri was the cutting of a finger, like you would think. Genman, or 10,000 fists. It sure felt like he punched me 10,000 times. And now that you're the next target, he'll be out for your life. There's only one way to get out of this now. You have to get the 4 of us together, just like the old times. Quit joking around. The only reason we ever included him was because we felt sorry for him. He's an ungrateful piece of shit. This is getting out of hand. We've got to hurry up and call the As my phone dropped to the ground, bent down to pick it up, and that was when I noticed a gruesome sight. The sight before me was horrifying. A man so brutally mangled, yet strangely familiar. I struggled to comprehend what I was seeing, but then I realized. Huh? Ninomiya, what the hell? Then that means... And as I looked above, that thing unbandaged its face, revealing those oh too familiar eyes.
I couldn't believe it.
And if you're lying, it's 1,000 needles down the hatch.
Story number 5. Our story begins with a mother begging for child services to not take her child away. She screams, "Give her back! She's my child!" "We've left you countless notices. Can't you see your child is terrified?" But she rebutted back to the man.
That's a lie. Nozumi loves me. Look here, Nozumi. This never fails to put a smile on your face. Peekaboo. Peekaboo.
But her eerie words did not comfort the child. It was as the protective services had said. She was terrified. She latched onto the man's knee, crying into his jeans.
Nozumi!
"Get her out of here!"
How could you? Even my own daughter would turn her back on me.
She fell to her knees and began to weep, and then she started laughing hysterically. That was a sight that poor child never forgot. As the caretaker said, "It's okay now. We're taking you somewhere safe." Many years passed by, and eventually, the girl grew up. She grew up in some sort of institution, with special care. Inside her room, she picked up a note from her desk, tearing it into pieces. It was a note from her dear mother. She wanted to see her. She kept claiming how much she missed her, but those horrible words echoed in her head. Peekaboo. Peekaboo. Coming from her door. Peekaboo. Peekaboo. The poor girl sat there trembling in fear, and then the door opened and in came the nurse. "Nozumi, it's time for..." "Huh? Did you hear her again?" Even now, after this facility had protected her for over 10 years, what happened on that day was still painfully burned into her memory. Her mother's voice keeps echoing again and again in her head. "I know this is rough for you every time, but your mother has submitted another request for visitation." "Absolutely not." "Alright, we'll refuse her like usual. You don't have to ask for my permission every time." She slowly made her way down the hallway, walking out of the door and into the courtyard. Trembling, the poor girl was still in fear, and once again, she heard that horrific voice. Peekaboo. Peekaboo. She stopped in place. Then she realized it was just two kids playing, laughing to one another. She stopped to catch her breath. Thinking about this logically, she's being held at some hospital, so there's no way that her mother could leave even if she wanted to. Not to mention that the staff members at this facility are working together to keep her safe. But the poor girl couldn't stop imagining her mother's voice. Her mother's presence will always torment her. She never truly feels safe. And once again, she hears it. Peekaboo. 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 She stops once again in place. How can she be so tormented so? And then, Nozumi, I've been looking for you. We've just received a call. Your mother has passed away. Nozumi couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her legs began to tremble and she passed out down on the floor. Nozumi, please let me be alone. And so she returned back to her room and began to ponder. My mom is dead. She's finally left this world. Now, I don't have to live in fear anymore. But then... Peekaboo. Peekaboo. She quickly turned around. It was coming from the door. Peekaboo. Peekaboo. She approached the door slowly. Why am I still? Slowly turning the door handle and opening the door. And what she saw... I see you. It was her mother's mangled, decrepit corpse, turned upside down, hanging from the ceiling, her eyes completely turning inside her head, and her tongue out. Story number 6. Throwing away stuff this nice is such a waste. Anything here that I can take home with me? That was when our protagonist grabbed a ragged doll, its eyes swollen and its body dirty. He stared at it intently as fear plagued his face and sweat dripped down his brow. Ugh. He tossed the thing up in the air as it flung into a pile of weeds, and then he uttered, "Creepy thing," and ran as fast as he could away from the sight of that doll. But little did he know, the doll lay there intently. 1 week later, our protagonist is walking about. That is when he notices something at a staircase. He takes a closer look, and it's that strange doll. And it's sitting there as if it's just staring into his very soul. He looks at it intently with fear, sweat streaming down his cheek. Then he turns around, running as fast as he can. But little does he know, the doll is now smiling at him. Later that day, back at his place of living. Earlier, where we dropped the trash off, there was this doll in the garbage. But his roommate doesn't know what he's talking about. I think that it's following me. Could I have been cursed? A doll? What do you mean? Miss Mary? You've never heard the story of Miss Mary? The doll that slowly creeps closer? Isn't that different, though? I saw her right in front of me from the start. whatever it is, I can't help but worry. That road creeps me out. I'm not going to use it. Maybe you should go apologize for throwing her. The next day, our protagonist returns to that road once again, this time intent on apologizing to the doll. But as he makes his way, when he takes a look at the staircase, he notices it's gone. After that, months passed without me seeing the doll again. Running late, I'm about to miss an important meeting. All good, should make it just in time. But that is when he notices the doll once again, this time in the middle of the road. So, this entire time, you've been... Fine, I get it. Sorry about before. Please, let me pass through here if you could. He raised his head slowly, sweat dripping down his entire face. But this time, instead of a smile, the doll had a sinister look, as if it had an extreme amount of anger toward the man. Sorry for being late. Oh, there you are, Higa. Glad you're okay. There was a rear-end accident out front of the office earlier. You were late getting here, so I thought it might have involved you. I came the back way this morning. Huh, now that's a spot of luck. I haven't seen the doll for some time since then. Didn't realize it was this late. Minami will probably be sleeping already. But that was when he noticed the horrible truth. Right in front of his front door was that doll, and it didn't look happy with him. In front of my own home? The doll sat there intently, as he thought to himself, what should I do? I can't leave. But that was when he looked upward and saw smoke. What? Smoke? A fire? Minami. He ran as fast as he could toward the door, grabbing onto the handle. But as he tried to open it, the doll was stopping it. It continued to resist the opening of the door with a sinister expression on its face once again. Out of the way! The doll tumbled to the ground. Minami, stay with me! He ran as fast as he could, getting out of the burning fire. But the door had shut behind him, and there lay the doll with tears streaming down its cheek. Was the doll really sinister, or was it just misunderstood? That's for you to decide. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. I'd like to take this time to give a very special thanks to my Patreons and YouTube members. Sarah De Jesus, Motosurf, Cleo, Minue, Tago, Andre Wolf, Voodoom, Louise V, and Alex S. Thank you so much everyone, and remember, you're important and you matter. Have a great night everyone. Goodbye.